Hello and welcome back to the ministry. Um, I'm going to close off the point that I was making in the previous video that these men are going through some things and you just need to really just be praying for them. But as we come into this next point, as we are preparing to walk into these new seasons, we have to come to the understanding there are things that may have been holding us back. Bless God, a majority of the people that I listen to have released. My pastor released it on September 1st, the morning of September 1st. He released a word on his coffee with the bishop, and he said that all of our fights are over. Yesterday, the apostle I listened to, all the struggle, over. I had a dream of confirmation yesterday, and when the Lord tells me to release dreams and gives me wisdom as to how I'm supposed to share it to you, I will. But he hasn't quite showed me how he wants me to do that. But I'm going to say this. A lot of us are at the end of our transition season. It's over. The struggle's over. Everything's over. We're about to go directly into these things. And if you listen to my previous message, if it pops up previously, you have the understanding there are things that have been holding you back from being able to walk into these things. For your kingdom spouse, there's been things holding them back to keeping them from walking into these things. People, places, and things. Seasons are changing as we go along, and what is happening with these seasons changing, you are growing as we have been growing through these seasons. And a major sign, some of y'all will see this in your dreams, is there's going to be a victory or defeat of something that you were dealing with, or you will see a representation in your dream of something being defeated, beheaded. A fight takes place and you win it. Whatever it is, maybe you end up in a situation or scenario where something ugly dies. An ugly scenario just ends, or you viciously kill something and you come out victorious. But the season ends, and with that means certain things are going to need to be moved away from. If you recall in the scripture about Abraham, go to a place that I will show you. He had to pick up his wife and go to a place he was going to be shown. I've actually already done that once. I left, went to New York, came back because the Lord sent me back at this particular point in time to heal from what I had to go through in that season. And it was like that Joseph season where I've been in that preparation between Joseph coming out of the prison and going to meet the Pharaoh to interpret the dream. Being called out for the opportunity to do the thing. But in my resting season, in my holding pattern, while everything that I was doing was on pause, as he restructured me and restructured what he was going to do, he had me access family, friends, deal with Job season and my beliefs. And with that being said, I've recognized certain things. I recognize spiritual things that I didn't know or notice when I was here the last time because I wasn't spiritually aware and hadn't spiritually grown. And with those things came certain understandings, family, friends, understanding things that were going on with myself, with them internally, things that I needed to hold on to, things I needed to release. Uncertain understandings, getting clarity on certain things, even having ministerial clarity. I love the ministers I listen to because when I pray about certain things, they release words, even if not everything that they are saying is relevant at the time, but it gives you the answer or confirmation as to what it was that you were going through. dealing with family or friends or so on and so forth. Some of us have soul ties to people that we feel like we were going to be indebted to for the rest of our lives because they're family, or we love that friend from childhood and we don't want to let them go. But why are we holding on to these things? And you're going into relationships with new people and they may be holding on to people. You have to pray for them to release the people that are going to be detrimental for the relationship that the Lord is trying to create between the two of you. And it isn't out of spite. It isn't out of control of these people. It's out of the fact that the Lord himself, Elroy, knows exactly. Elroy, write this down. Elroy, God that sees all things. He can see from the beginning of time to the end of time. He knows who's going to be a positive effect for you, your spouse, and so on and so forth, and who's going to be a negative effect. And because of that, what it is he's going to have certain things. And because of these certain things, you have to gain wisdom. Okay? And there are people you got to come into contact with. Sometimes you've been wondering, why have I not come in contact with this? Why has the opportunity not come to pass? Why hasn't this happened? Why hasn't that happened? Because the other person has not released, relinquished, or let go of the thing in which they were supposed to let go of in order for you to come into the fullness of what it was that the Lord is trying to do. They may be running from it. They may be not releasing it. They may still be holding on to people, places, and things that make them feel comfortable because they're afraid that if they let them go, then what do they have? The people that were out in Egypt, they were wandering around in that wilderness for 40 years for a trip that was only supposed to be 11 days. Days, not months, not years, days. Days. Why? Because they would not let go of the things that they felt comfortable with. And because of that, they ended up wandering and wandering and wandering. How many of y'all have been wandering? I had to go through my wilderness season. I started walking with the Lord in 2014. I went through 2 sets of wilderness. I was in my Egypt season when I first came into the Lord. Then I was sent away from that season. I went through a resting period, like when the Israelites went through the happy experience of coming out of Egypt, but then they were in the wilderness and then they shifted when they were traveling through the wilderness. Well, I left that season and ended up in New York for a 3.5-year wilderness season. Then I started to see a shift, something transition. I moved to another place while I was in New York, which was better than the last, but I was still with the same people and accompaniment. And then I was released from that season and I came back home. Still in wilderness, but a different form of wilderness. And with that being said, I had to grow through it, but still transition. We're coming out of our transition. Why did it take so long? Because I had to release certain things. Bless God, it only took about 4 to 5.5 years for me to go through that experience because I was willing to walk through it. But I have what is her name? My coach. She goes through seasons 3 months at a time. She always went through 3 months at a time. She even told me the reason that I had take so long is because of the fact that God was breaking me gradually. Gradually. I had breakups in the midst of the season where I was moved from one location to another in the same building. But that was my growth. That was my release. I moved 5 or 6 times in the same building. I moved about 3 times in the last building I was in. So I went through 8 or 9 different level elevations. Then I came here and that was my 10th elevation. So you have to walk through your levels of elevation. And in each, you have to let go of people, places, and things as you elevate. Some of us have a tendency that as we're going through our elevation, God is stripping us and we're losing things. And our natural instinct wants to control what we're losing, and we want to become God in our own lives. I remember in a sermon, T.D. Jakes said that we wanted to become gods in our own lives, but we are in no way, shape, or form gods in our own lives. And because of that, we have to learn when to release, who to release, and to let go. Sometimes the saddest part is when your season ends and you know the season's about to shift. You realize, I have to leave this place. I have to leave the people that I'm comfortable being around. I have to leave this level of comfort, because the sad part about it is you will go through a training season and you'll go through warfare in a season, and you'll come out that warfare and you'll see that Lord will give you confirmation. Okay, the warfare has ended. But with that warfare having ended, the Lord is showing you, you passed the tests, you've went through the warfare, and now it's time for a shift. You're about to shift. You're about to move. You're about to go to that next thing. And maybe in that season you were with family, or you were with friends, or you were with, as you're transitioning into your new thing. And it's that element of, you're going to have to walk away from what you have now. And you're never going to have what you have now again. And a lot of people have always said, enjoy the process, even though you got so much warfare coming after you that is so heavy, so hard, so intense. And you're like, enjoy what? Enjoy where? Where am I enjoying? I want to get the hell out of this. It's not that I don't love my family, and they the ones that be attacking you because they be projecting their demons on you, and you be sitting there like, excuse me? And you're like, I want to get out of this. And then when it comes to a level of peace and everybody's good, and we finally reached a level where you can breathe and rest. And then the Lord said, by the way, you passed the test of this level. It's time to elevate to the next level. You're leaving here. It's like, you kind of end up in a place of, oh, God, I gotta go. I just got comfortable with the fact that I won the battle. Can I see you in a minute for having won the battle? It means I gotta go someplace else and there's gonna be another fight. Oh, yeah, sure. I gotta leave. Darn. And sometimes you may be holding on to the comfort of this, but understand this. If it's time for you to go, that disease that you were feeling before, it's gonna return, because the Lord's gonna say, now I gotta push you out of here. Because just like the eagle, when the parent has to push the eaglet out of the nest, God's gonna push you out, because the people that are around you, you don't really have space where you are anyway. You don't have a place to do or be doing what it is that you're called to be doing in where you at. So the Lord is saying, I'm gonna need for you to get out of there. So I'm gonna start pushing you toward the exit, because I'm gonna have the people, the places, the situation, the scenario, even the building that you're in, everything's gonna be pushing you out, and you're gonna have to go. And the way I always say it is, I have no problem leaving. Where's my resources and the things that I need in order for me to get out of here? The opportunity, the placement for my next location. Lead me. I follow your cloud. Where we going? When we going? The only concern I have right now, I injured my hand to carry my property to get to the next location. So I'm gonna need some divine help. And it was interesting. A young woman, I was listening to her dream, and they were talking about how in this coming season, there are going to be people unexpectedly helping you carry your property. And it's funny, a few years back, during another series of transitions, the main minister I listened to, she explained a dream where she said the same thing. She was on a train and somebody was coming along to help her carry her luggage to the next location. There are people coming to help you get to that next location. It's a scripture, 7:27, I believe it is, in the Bible, that speaks of God is sending his messenger angels to, they've gone forth ahead of you, but there are some that are going to be helping you along the way. They're going to help you. I remember every time I had to do a move to my next location, there was I remember before we ended up in the last place that I was before I came home, we moved from the previous building to this new building. And the day that I was leaving, it was a young woman. I'd never seen her before. I didn't see her again after that. But that day, she was there helping me and my roommate get our stuff from upstairs downstairs because they had no elevator in the building. And she helped us get it outside. She traveled with us on the bus that we were going to transport our stuff, and she helped get me to the building. But after that, she was gone. And I had to get the stuff there. Once I got to where I was going, she was gone. There are people that are going to get you there, but once you're there, they may be gone. They get you as far as they need to get you, but they're going to leave. So make sure that when you're packing to go to your next location, that you pack light, or that you make sure that you have what you need only. Everything else is just excess, and you don't need to carry extra things. But you have to be prepared. Don't carry emotions. Don't carry extra personal baggage from your past. Don't carry anything, because think about the book of Joshua. When those people brought things from their past, they ended up having to be flogged and stoned, the entire family, because they brought things they were not supposed to take from the past season. There are people that you're going to have to meet in that new place. You're going to have to make room. I was listening to the apostle yesterday. He's saying, what you make room for, you will see. A lot of people don't want to make room. They don't want to clean out their closet. They don't want to release the old stuff so that they can walk into the new thing. They always want to keep old things in order before they even allow themselves to walk into these new things. But there are things that you must do, brand new things that you're walking into. You don't need the old stuff. Some of us get, with as much as we have lost, we have a tendency to want to hold on to people, places, and things. And those people, places, and things may not be relevant for the season you're going into, and they may break off of you. And you may feel bad about that, but in certain seasons, it is what it is. That's why walking with God can be hard, because you have to let go of people that you might have been extremely tight with one season. And the next season, he has turned their hearts against you. And you're like, what did I do? It's not that you did anything. It's God had to turn their hearts against you so that you would move on. Walk into that new thing. Walk into the brand new relationships. Walk into the brand new things. So that he can open up doors and make ways for you to do the things that he needs for you to do. So that he can change you and prepare you and you can walk together. Because some of you have platforms, some of you have places, some of you are going to be doing ministries, some of you are going to be doing businesses, and your business is your ministry undercover. But you're going to be doing these types of things, and you have to be able to do it with joy and in peace with God. So are you prepared for that? Are you ready to walk in that? Because God is trying to prepare you to walk into the things that He's prepared for you. So I'm not going to sit here and belabor this much longer. There are things that you're going to have to learn to let go in order to fully walk into the place where God has called you. And it's not going to feel good. Family, friends, situations, because where you're going, they're not going to be your family in that season. You're going to be building a new one. You're going to be with your spouse and you're building something new. You're going to be with a brand new set of people that you're going to be working with you, working for you, working around you. And you're going to have to learn to walk in that. And you're going to have to trust in the situation that the Lord has put you in and allow God to lead you. But He's going to be doing it through your spouse. Some of you're going to be wanting to go straight to the Lord and pray like Jesus. And God's going to be like, husband. Like, wait, excuse me? Husband. You can pray to me about your husband, but you can't pray to me about that. Go to him. Excuse me? Yeah. Be ready. This season was a time for you to be with the Lord. But now, you're coming into a time where you're going to be with your spouse. And you're going to have to advise him so that he can better lead the both of you and your children as they come into the picture. Trust yourself. Trust God. God will always give you the wisdom. But you got to know that you have to go with God. And you're going to have to let go of people in certain situations, things, and scenarios, because they're going to hold you back if you allow yourself to be held. When God says go, go. When your husband comes calling and asking for you, you have to take the call, because when he responds, he's going to need you. And if you reject him in that moment, you could do a whole lot of damage, because it took him a lot to say something in the first place. So with that, this is Dr. Cameron. Until next time, much love, faith, peace, and blessings.